So, we are in the pit lane after a chaotic race in Dubai in NIFL. The world champion was crowned last week, but still a lot of things to be decided, including the relegation battle. In the end, Chaos got it, P5 in the end, with Mercedes having not a very good race, I think so, Max. One car retiring.
The Mercedes struggled very much with the tire wear, I believe, so it was not an ideal race for them.
You can see if they went onto the hard compound tyres in the first, and then after the first pit stop. So I think they pitted very early off their first tyres and then just struggled to get the tyres warmed up because they were on the hard compound tyres. I just think they just struggled with tyre wear, exactly. They were struggling to get the tyres warmed up on the hards, and they really didn't find a good point with the tyres. They just didn't go well for the Brackley team. But McLaren jubilant after the rain came in the last 2 laps. They were under pressure, let's say, because they were in about 6th place. They were 6th place at the time, and it was a bit sketchy for them because the car behind were gaining about a second or two a lap with 2 laps to go, and they were only about 4 seconds behind, so really it wasn't set. But they done it because the rain came in at the perfect time for them, and it helped them.
Yeah, that McLaren looked really good on track today, didn't it?
It did look pretty good, but then I don't think the 2-stop was the best strategy because they could have got a better result if they. We don't know the pace they had compared to the Haas or Stealthy and the Alpha Tauri, but if they had probably about a few tenths lower because they weren't too bad in the first stint, they got dropped not very easily. So I think they could have gone for an easier 1-stop like Dragon did, or until his last pit stop for the fast lap.
Yeah, Dragon obviously had a strong showing in the first stint.
And in the second
Obviously,
stint.
in the second stint I was doing other things.
Yep. So
he had a good battle with Stealthy that lasted till Stealthy pitted, from what I believe.
Yeah, Stealthy pitted earlier than Dragon. Then Dragon, Stealthy was he got a corner cut warning. It was about 4 seconds to get because I think they made 3 mistakes. I think Dragon made a mistake, then Stealthy made a mistake, and then Dragon made a mistake. So, and then Stealthy was leading by about 4 seconds before the pit stops. But then when he pitted, he got a corner cut warning on his out lap. So he could have been a long way ahead and could have had a chance to victory today. But that corner cut warning, or the corner cut penalty, proving crucial then, which we normally see in races like this.
Yeah, I mean, this track's a very mean one in terms of corner cuts and track extensions. It's very easy to go over that limit, as we've seen by today's race.
So let's talk about Dragon. Dragon just is a brilliant drive. It just barely any mistakes. One of them was a corner cut and one of them was a thing. But the pace he had in that last stint was ridiculous. After Stealthy's second stop, he was on about 5, 6, 7 laps of younger tyres, and he could barely eat into his lead. And he was setting purple sectors everywhere. It was honestly probably one of the quickest stints and sessions I've ever seen from a driver. Of how consistent he was.
Yeah, he did look very good out there today. Obviously, the odd mistake every once in a while, I believe.
It was twice in about 5 laps, but then he made no mistakes for the 20 laps after that.
Yeah, I mean, he's had a good race.
Stealthy and Dragon were both very consistent, but the strategy from Haas wasn't the best because they went for the 2-stop, and the 2-stop wasn't the best strategy, as proven. But Chaos did a 2-stop because he pitted early, and then it probably could have worked a bit better than what happened with Stealthy. So, the order for the Dubai Grand Prix, the last round of the season, and now is off-season, officially off-season. And round 4 now is, or season 4 coming up next season. Or coming up, obviously, next season. The season 4 calendar has not been announced yet, so we still don't know when the season will start. I expect it to be about a few week break. I think it'll be 2 or 3 week break, and then we'll have the ceremony which will be hosted by us. And then, so the results, let's talk about the results. So I've got the results next to me. So Dragon won by just 10 seconds. I thought it was more because I believe Dragon. What happened on the last lap was Dragon celebrated and then Stealthy gained a bit, but it's Cupral, pretty good result from him. Podium for Peugeot as well. Aggie, very solid drive. Only 8 attempts ahead of Chaos because he did get a corner cut in the last 5 laps before gaining back on Chaos, and he got ahead on the last lap. And pretty convincing for Chaos, 8 seconds ahead in the end. Ahead of JZ, and then Saw and Rose. Then got a very good result for Alpine as they stay in the 4th in the championship as well. Aston Martin got AlphaTauri in the end after a last lap overtake on Elvis from Morgan King. Yeah, Lofi P8, not the best drivers. He was in P4 before his last pit stop. Rose as well, consistently in the bottom half of the top 10. Same for Saw in the mid pack, and then Honzo did the race, but he finished last. So did Alumino also finished, but he finished second last, about 6 seconds ahead. Diego didn't finish the race.
Yeah, Mercedes definitely had a struggle weekend.
Yeah, especially and
Stuffy and Dragon did very good, as said before. Obviously, running away in the beginning.
Yeah, we also saw the pace in qualifying. The top 2 was 6 tenths ahead of third, or from the actually second place. It was 9 tenths from Stealthy, who got pole yesterday. So it's Cupral in third place in the Peugeot, and then Dragon was still 6 tenths ahead of its Cupral. So the pace they had was mind-blowing as well. Let's talk about Mercedes. Mercedes had 3 drivers yesterday. Only got P9, 11 and 12 yesterday. So there wasn't the best result. Not the best result for them qualifying. They just didn't have the pace all weekend. Didn't get any points today either. So, yep. So the results for the Constructor Championship are still to be calculated. But I can say Lofi, if he got that 4th place finish, he would have got 3rd in the championship. But he pitted very late on, and that lost his chance and only got 4 points and stayed in 6th place. Tim as well crashed when he was on the dry tyres when the rain was coming down because he was a gambler staying out on them on the slicks in the last 2 laps, which definitely wasn't the right decision for the driver, for the Ferrari driver as well.
Yeah, Tim did hit some pace in the beginning, but he got stuck in traffic, I believe so.
Yeah, he got into 7th, and then everything just went. He just didn't make any progress from then. I think his tyres starting to die. I think everyone else is saving their tyres, mostly everyone else except probably Tim Mercedes and Chaos. And then Tim was just pushing through the pack, and then he lost all his tyres when he got up to about 7th. And then he just had no pace till the end of the race, even though when the pit stops came. And then also Aggie, special thing to him, he got P4, and his best result so far this season, in this championship, is last race. He crashed. Yeah, his best result, surprisingly, is only his best result is P4. Sorry, yeah, which he got in the US.
I told you that Aggie was the GOAT.
Yeah, he did a pretty good drive from the pit lane. He didn't have the pace of the top 2, obviously, because they were far and away the best of the grid.
They were miles away from the rest.
And pretty much as well, the Constructor Championship, let's look at that. So, Aston Martin stayed there, but AlphaTauri, so Haas won the Constructors' last race in Spain. Peugeot keeps 7th, or keeps 2nd, with a podium finish for his Cupral, which is a pretty solid drive from him as well. Ferrari, not the best outing, only a P8 and a retirement for them. Alpine had a pretty good showing as they got P7 and 9, a pretty consistent showing for the Enstone team. They tipped Alpine tipped AlphaTauri, which are 2 points behind at the time, and Elvis didn't even get a point. He got overtaken by Morgan King on the last lap, which got them another point. They stayed 7th in the championship. Alfa Romeo didn't score any points. No one competed for Alfa Romeo this weekend or this race, so they stayed in 6th in the constructor championship. Red Bull, probably one of the favourite in real life, down in 8th place. Not the best showing from them, even though they got 24 points last time out, with ASM getting a good result as well. Mercedes, out of the league with no points today and no points in this championship all the way for about 6 rounds. Yeah, for about 6 rounds they haven't got a point for, so it's really... Yeah,
It's been an intense season for everyone, especially for the teams, as we've seen.
Probably the fight strategy for the teams this weekend, because I think we didn't really focus on the drivers' championship. I think the thing we focused on was the absolute brilliant battle for staying up in NIFL this season. But it's really just Chaos did a brilliant drive. We can't fault him at anything. The strategy compromised him, let's say. But
Yeah, definitely.
he still did a pretty good drive.
Chaos had the pace for a podium.
Definitely, but then just the strategy didn't help him with it. He was in the podium places after the first pit stop, though, but then he had to pit very early for the second stint, and then he had older tyres for mostly the whole race. So it was like he pitted a few laps after everyone else. So really, there was no point to that first stop. He was on the softs. I think he was the only driver on the soft compound tyres at the start. So was that the right call? Probably not. So thank you for joining us for this post-race review thing. We'll find a name for it and for next race. Don't know when it will be. Thank you for joining us. See you in where we are.